What's going on, guys? Today we are coming back with another video, and today I'm going to be telling you guys everything that you need to know in order to get through World Tier 3 fast and easy with the Burn Sorc. I'm going to be going over everything from Paragon, gear, skill tree, the Vampiric powers, as well as some tips for Fallen Temple when you get there. So stay tuned and let's get right into it. Alright guys, so I wanted to do a quick little tutorial on how to play the build since I didn't cover that in the 1 to 50 leveling guide. I'm just going to quickly go through your three abilities here and do a quick demonstration after that on what you should be doing. So we have Firebolt, Firewall, and Hydra as our three main damaging abilities. So as you're approaching enemies, you're going to want to drop a Hydra, spam some Firewalls until you're about out of mana, and then just spam Firebolt after that. If your Hydra drops out, just Hydra again, and then when you get more mana, you want to keep reapplying Firewalls. And that's pretty much what you're going to be doing on a rinse and repeat basis as you're fighting packs. So now let's go engage some enemies. I'm going to drop Hydra, some firewalls, and then spam some Firebolt. And then everything should die just like that. Same thing here. Hydra, Firewall, Firebolt when you're out of mana. Hydra, Firewall, throwing a Frost over there. Hydra, Firewall. We're out of mana, so we spam some Firebolt. And you guys pretty much get the idea at this point. Just using Hydra, Firewall, and Firebolt to do all of our damage. We can Frost Nova if we're getting swarmed by enemies. And it'll freeze them and give us a little bit of a breather. As well as you can use Ice Armor for a nice little defensive. Gives you some extra health. And then Teleport you can use to kite away or break out of a stun. And that's pretty much a quick demonstration on how the build plays. As far as the skill tree goes, nothing has really changed from the 1 to 50 leveling guide. So if you were using that skill tree, feel free to keep using it. The same thing goes for the enchantments. We are still using Firewall and Fireball enchantment. So as far as skills and skill tree goes, you shouldn't really need to change anything. Alright guys, so let's talk about gear really quick. So you should be trying to go into World Tier 3 around level 40 to 45 realistically, I would say, for most people, depending on how confident you feel. And the reason you want to go into World Tier 3 around that level is because you can start getting Sacred Gear pieces before level 50. And once you get some of those Sacred Gear pieces, it's going to help speed up the leveling a lot more. So you just mainly want to get in there earlier to try to get some gear upgrades. First off, you should be looking for a weapon first. The weapon is the most important upgrade to get first. It's going to boost your damage by a lot, and it's going to make getting the rest of your gear upgrades a lot easier. So whenever you find something that is an upgrade and you can equip it, I would definitely just equip that right away. Offensively, you shouldn't really need any aspects thanks to the Vampiric powers. The Vampiric powers are, for the most part, going to carry you, but if you do have extra mats lying around and you do want to throw on an aspect or two, some good options, I would say, are Edge Masters or Rapid Aspect. Defensively, I would say you should be looking to equip Aspect of Might and Aspect of Disobedience if you can. I would equip those on a piece of Sacred Gear that you really like, that maybe has some pretty decent stats on it. And all those are going to do are make you a little bit more tankier, because early on some of the stuff is going to be a little bit of a higher level than you, and you might be a little bit squishy, but equipping those two aspects will help you be a little bit tankier to be able to survive and kill stuff. Overall, I wouldn't worry too much about stats while you're leveling through World Tier 3. But there are some stats that are better than others. So the ones that you should just generally be looking out for defensively are total armor, any type of damage reduction stat, and resistances are pretty good now. Offensively, you should be looking for attack speed, damage over time, fire damage, damage versus burning enemies, or ranks to your skills such as Firewall and Hydra. And then for utility, move speed is very, very nice. Lucky hit chance is also very good, and mana cost reduction. Also, I would say max life rolls are pretty nice, and you can use those as well. I think that's pretty much everything you need to know for gear as you are leveling up through World Tier 3. Alright guys, let's take a look at the Vampiric powers that you should be using as you level through World Tier 3. So right here we have all of the powers that I recommended as you leveled through 1 through 50. Um, we have Flowing Veins for dot damage, Hemomancy for an AoE effect every 4 seconds, Resilience for more DR, Undying for more healing, and Ravenous for more attack speed. So your first objective with Vampiric powers as you get into World Tier 3 is to unlock Accursed Touch. You get Accursed Touch through this Hunter's Acclaim reputation. So as you're leveling and grinding through Blood Harvest, you'll start leveling this up. It'll start going up and up, and you'll unlock things. You get Accursed Touch at rank 9 with this. So what Accursed Touch does is it gives you a reliable way to affect enemies with Vampiric Curse, and it makes the souls that you have from Vampiric Curses do a lot of damage. Sometimes those curses can almost instantly delete packs by themselves, so this is very nice to have while leveling. So as soon as you unlock that, we're just going to slot it in. And then to combo with that, you want to use Prey on the Weak, which gives you extra vulnerable damage, and it makes enemies afflicted by your Vampiric Curse vulnerable. So this gives you an easily reliable way to apply vulnerable when comboed with Accursed Touch. And I would say through the majority of World Tier 3, this is the combination that you're going to want to be using. In this fifth slot, I think probably the best option you can use is Ravenous. If you have enough packs. If you don't, you can just run with these four, no problem. And then some other alternatives I would say are pretty good if you have the packs are Resilience or Undying. But like I said, these are the main four that you want to be using throughout the majority of World Tier 3. In terms of upgrade importance, I would say the first power you should be looking to upgrade is Hemomancy, just because it gives you a little bit more AoE damage and speeds up your clearing. Next, I would say try to level up Accursed Touch. As you level this up, the lucky hit chance will go up, which makes applying curses and vulnerable from Prey on the Weak a lot easier. Third, I would say prioritize Flowing Veins, just to increase your dot damage. And then last, I would say Prey on the Weak. And then whatever you have here in this fifth slot, obviously just is probably the least important to upgrade. Now it is completely random, so it might not work out in that order exactly, but that was just to give you guys a little bit of a priority system that you should be looking for as you are spending your potent blood and upgrading your powers. Alright guys, so now I'm going to be showing you the Paragon pathing that you should be taking as you are leveling through World Tier 3. I'm going to go up to level 70 because by the time you hit level 70, you should definitely be in World Tier 4. I would say you can go into World Tier 4 as fast as level 60, and you should be definitely aiming to get into World Tier 4 at level 60 because you can start equipping Ancestral Gear at level 60, which is going to dramatically speed up your leveling. But for now, let's just take a look at the Paragon board. So once you hit 50 in World Tier 3, you will unlock your Paragon ward, and you should have 28 points of renown. So the pathing we are going to take is to come up here to the right, and grab these damage nodes and max life up towards the glyph socket. At the glyph socket, we're going to put in wisdom. This will be level 1 just for 0.5% damage, which isn't a big deal. It's just to have something there for right now. Down and to the left here, we're going to grab this rare node for the resistances and max life. Up to the right here, we're going to grab some resistance and intelligence, and then over to the left, we're going to grab more intelligence and non-physical damage, and then 2 more points to path up to the gate. So in this first socket here, you're not going to have any glyphs when you get into World Tier 3. As you're leveling and glyphs are dropping, the one you're going to want to look for to put into here is either Adept or Enchanter. You can put either of these into this socket here. We'll just go with Adept for now. It's going to be level 1. So you're going to have a level 1 Adept glyph. And then whenever you do get this, you're going to end up putting 2 points into these 2 intelligence nodes here. You just go 1, 2, and then you'll have the bonus for the glyph. So up to level 70, we are going to keep pathing on towards the gate, and we're going to go into the Searing Heat board first. We're going to rotate the board like this, path up to the left to this cluster here where we're going to grab some fire damage as well as intelligence, up towards this glyph socket, and in this glyph socket, ideally you're going to be wanting to put Enchanter whenever you get it. If you don't have Enchanter, you can just put Wisdom again until you do get Enchanter. And then when you get Enchanter, you're going to want to grab the rest of these points here. We can grab over to the left here Ashes for some fire resistance and intelligence. These 2 intelligence points here. And then path up to grab the rest of these intelligence points. So right here, we're at 40 out of 40, so we have the bonus and some extra non-physical damage. And then other than the glyph socket here, we're just going to go up to the left and out towards the gate, towards Burning Instinct. We're going to rotate the board like this. And we're just going to path straight forward towards the center to grab some burning damage and damage to elites, and then start working our way down towards the legendary node. Just grabbing these stats here, get some DR and fire resistance, and then the legendary node, which is going to give us extra burning damage. So after this, we are going to path up towards the glyph socket, going this way. On the way to the glyph socket. At the glyph socket, we are going to take exploit here. This would also be level 1 probably. So important to know with this glyph socket, if you don't have the Accursed Touch Vampiric power, this is not going to work at all. This is the Vampiric power that gives you access to Vampiric Curse, as well as the when you're comboed with Prey on the Weak, it'll give you vulnerable. So if you don't have access to that vulnerable, this glyph is going to be pretty much useless. So you definitely want to make sure you have that Vampiric power as soon as possible. So we're going to fill out the rest of these points here to give us that, that bonus effect there from the vulnerable. We're going to come back over here to Searing Heat and then grab this cluster here. What this cluster is doing is giving us fire and crit strike damage. Now, while we don't benefit from crit strike damage as a dot build, what this is doing is buffing our Burning Instinct legendary node, which we need crit strike damage in order to buff. So this will just give us more burning damage thanks to this critical strike damage. And then with these last 6 points here, what you can do is grab this rare node here, which gives us damage to burning enemies and intelligence, and then over here grab some DR and intelligence. And that'll round you out at level 70. So like I briefly mentioned in the Paragon section, You guys should be trying to go into World Tier 4 at around level 60. Um, I did it as early as level 55 on my playthrough. I was able to kill Elias and beat Fallen Temple at level 55. And one tip I will give you guys if you are planning to try this out is that for your Vampiric powers, if you are going to attempt to do Fallen Temple at around level 55 to 60, I would recommend you take off Hemomancy and instead put Moonrise. What Moonrise is going to do is buff your Firebolt by quite a bit, and it's going to give you a lot more single target damage. This is a lot more useful against higher health enemies and priority target enemies. It's going to make it a lot easier to kill Elias, so I would highly, highly, highly recommend you equip this. And then also for enchantments, you can just drop Fireball enchantment and then put in Firebolt, and that should help you to have an easier time killing Elias. So the last thing I want to briefly go over before we end the guide is what you should do in order to level. So from my experience, you pretty much have three main avenues of leveling in World Tier 3. So your first avenue is Blood Harvests. You should definitely be doing these because you do need to upgrade your powers, and you also need a power from the Hunter's Renown. So you should definitely be doing these every time they're up. When these zones are up, pretty much all I would do is I'd focus on completing the Whispers in the zone. There's always 3 Whispers that you can do. And every time you finish those 3, you'll get a Tree of Whispers cache. So just go in there, focus on finishing those 3 Whispers, and then after that you can just leave the zone and you don't have to sit in there and grind forever if you don't want to. Doing this method repeatedly, you should be able to level up your powers with no problem. You should get a lot of those packs that you can add onto your gear, as well as the acid to remove the packs from the gear. So you'll have a lot of those materials in order to be able to get the exact amount of packs you need with no problem. Your second avenue is Hell Tides. You definitely want to be doing these because you do need Forgotten Souls and Fiend Rose in order to upgrade your gear and reroll stats on your gear. So you definitely want to be doing these whenever they're up. When they're up, you just farm enemies and events until you get 250 cinders, and then you can go find one of the Chest of Mysteries. With that chest, you'll get some Forgotten Souls and Fiend Rose, as well as elixirs and legendary items, and that's pretty much your main goal of Hell Tides. You can do up to 2 chests per Hell Tide. You can do 2 if you want to, or you can just do 1 and then leave the zone. Completely up to you. Both methods are fine. And then outside of those 2, if neither of those 2 events are up or you finish them, in the meantime, what you can do is just go farm Nightmare Dungeons so you can start upgrading your glyphs. And I would say those are pretty much your 3 main avenues of leveling options in World Tier 3. That's pretty much everything I wanted to cover in this guide. That should be enough to get you guys through World Tier 3 fast and easy with no problems at all. If you guys have any questions, please do let me know in the comments. Feel free to ask anything, or if you feel like I missed something, please do let me know. Be on the lookout for more content. I will be doing a World Tier 4 guide, as well as some endgame content guides, and gameplay featuring the build in Tier 100s, as well as killing Uber Lilith. So stay on the lookout for that. Thanks for watching as always, guys. If you did like the video, please consider leaving a like or subscribing for more content, as this would help me out quite a bit and is very much appreciated. Thanks, guys. I'll be talking to you soon. Bye.